Back tonight on In Focus, Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405 in our focus today as we look at immigration in the country. Well, South African immigration laws will now require that all work visa applications are vetted by the Department of Labour first. The department will also be introducing new requirements for companies to follow before employing foreign nationals. Employers have also been warned to comply with new laws to avoid administrative delays in the processing of work visa applications. Joining us now to explain why the new immigration laws are a critical step is Cliffe, Dekker, Hofmeyr, Director of Employment Law Practice, Hedda, Schensema. Hedda, good to have you tonight with us tonight here on In Focus. So this is compulsory preliminary processes that are being put in place before submitting the visa applications to the Visa Facilitation Service, which were not there prior to these changes being put in place. What was there before and what was the process that would have been followed and what is different now?
Thank you to you and your viewers for having me this evening. The difference now is that the Department of Employment Labour is going to be becoming involved as well. So if a local South African company is looking for any form of employee, they would then have to register with the DEL. And the DEL could then present them with various candidates. They would then have to provide reasons as to why those candidates are not suitable for the position. Previously, that was not a requirement. So it's going to become far more stricter in the sense of being able to hire a foreign national going forward than what it's been in the past.
Yeah. From what I'm reading, is the Department of Labour here saying they will almost be working like a placement agency of some sort?
One could look at it that way, yes, because they ultimately could block the future in terms of your employment of that foreign national.
Yeah, and so you will be advertising a position, and then the department will suggest to you a particular worker that could fill that position. Where will they be getting those names?
I'm assuming they would also have their own database and they would then refer, let's say, for example, you had one position, they would then give you 5 candidates. You would have to interview them. You would then have to provide reasons why, if they weren't successful, as to why they were not successful going forward.
And from then a legal point of view, does this particular verification process make things easier or makes things a little bit more fair and ensures compliance as far as companies are concerned?
I think it will make it more fair and it will definitely ensure compliance going forward. We've always had the compliance obligations in our Immigration Act. However, many companies or employers have not adhered to those obligations. And that is why government has taken a zero stance going forward in terms of its tolerance of the non-obligations in relation to our Immigration Act and our non-adherence thereto.
Yeah. What other steps then are employers obligated to follow here in as far as the audits that they need to conduct and the validation of prospective employees?
Sure. So going forward, and it should be happening already, one should be doing regular audits of one's employees documentation. If you are aware that your employee is a foreign national, verification of the documentation in the visa form needs to be checked. If there is any doubt, there should be verification done in relation to those documents. And if there is anything that comes back to determine that those documents are invalid, obviously there are other processes that would then have to be followed by the employer. Yeah.
And then as far as employers who are found to be illegally employing foreign nationals, what are some of the penalties that are going to be meted out as far as this new stance of zero tolerance is concerned?
Well, there's the possibility of imprisonment and there's possibilities of fines. You could be looking at your CEOs, your MDs. They could be looking at the HR directors to be held liable for their hiring or the employment of foreign nationals with invalid work permits.
Yeah.
Or no permits at all, for that matter.
An illegal foreign national under the Immigration Act is a foreigner whose status does not authorize them to be employed by a particular employer. What does that mean?
So, in other words, I don't have a general work visa. I don't have a spousal visa, for example. Effectively, I am not in compliance with our Immigration Act and the regulations of the Immigration Act, and therefore I cannot, as a foreign national, be permitted to work legally in South Africa without a valid work permit in the form of a visa.
Yeah. And do you think this is a a knee-jerk reaction really from the government to the cry of the people of the country. Will they be able to enforce this and police it and ensure that it is adhered to?
I don't think it's a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, we've been hearing this for quite some time now. As I said earlier, our Immigration Act, the obligations have always been in the Act. It's just now that given the recent troubles that we had and the ongoing troubles that we had, that there's more spotlight on this, and there's obviously an urgent need to ensure that South Africans are employed before foreign nationals are employed. That the message is not that we don't want foreign nationals in South Africa. The message is that foreign nationals who are here without the appropriate documentation are not permitted to work in South Africa. So it's not our understanding that there's going to be a blanket, no foreigners may work in South Africa. It's become very clear through government that they want the foreigners who are working in South Africa to be legitimate in order to do so.
Yeah. And Hedda, do you get a sense that there is an uptake, I suppose, from companies to adhere to this? For example, the trucking sector, there was a sense that there are some big players who really do not care and are not participating in these processes. Are you finding that more and more companies are reaching out to Cliffe Dekker to say, as a legal firm, help us to be compliant?
Absolutely. I mean, there's daily we're getting instructions, we're getting requests from our clients to assist them with verification processes and to provide them guidance. Absolutely.
Hedda, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. That's Hedda Schensema, the Employment Law Practice Director at Cliffe Dekker Hofmeyr. Some due changes being brought in as far as labor laws are concerned in the country.